What's going on, nation? I'm here with Mike Rosa from the Anabolic Aliens, and today we're going to show you guys 4 exercises to help you build a bigger back.
It's important you guys train your thickness and width of your back to grow proportionally. So if you're not doing any of these 4 exercises, add them to your routine now. All right, guys, exercise number 1 is going to be weighted pull-ups. Now, whether you're at the level where you can actually use weight or not, you should certainly have pull-ups in your back routine. So if you're doing assisted pull-ups, bodyweight pull-ups, or weighted pull-ups, you're going to naturally have a force that's pulling down on you. And what that's going to do when you pull yourself up, you're going to be activating the upper lats as well as the rhomboids. So this is a really great exercise to expand the width of your back. And you'll notice that I'm standing on the bench. And the reason I'm doing this is because, not just because I'm not necessarily that tall, but I want to set myself up where I don't have to jump up to the bar, especially if I have weight on me, and I want to be able to stabilize myself. So you're going to grab the bar just a little wider than shoulder width, and then you're going to come all the way up. And you'll notice I come as close as I can to my upper chest. And then I come all the way down slowly and hold it at dead lockout. So you want to come down to a point where your lats are completely stretched and then come all the way up to that almost upper chest and then slowly back down. So you're flexing your lats at the top and let them be completely stretched at the bottom. So like I said, guys, this is a great exercise. You got to work up to the weight, but it's really going to help you expand the width of your back.
Exercise number 2 is going to be the Pendlay row. Once again, this exercise, like the first, is going to help with the overall width of your back. So we're targeting the lats, hitting a bit of the rhomboids, bit of the traps as well, spinal erectors for stability. Because it's a pulling motion, you'll also be activating your biceps. Now, the main difference between a Pendlay row and a regular barbell bent over row is, number 1, when you're doing a regular barbell bent over row, you're holding the weight in the air the entire time. So what that means is the exercise itself is going to be more taxing on your body, especially your lower back, because you have to hold the weight in the air. With the Pendlay row, you come to a complete dead stop after every single repetition. And what that means is you'll actually be able to lift more weight and really overload your back because you can rest in between your repetitions and really focus on the pull. So with that being said, this is definitely an exercise you want to do in the beginning of your workout. So to perform the movement, you're going to get into position, grab the barbell just outside of shoulder width, and then once you're in place, keep your core nice and tight, and then explosively pull the barbell off the ground. Just like that. I'll do another rep. Just like that. And now as you guys lift heavier and heavier, it is okay to use a bit of a hip thrust in this exercise to lift a bit more weight, but you always want to make sure you're in control of the movement the entire time. So if you notice that it's becoming more of a hip thrust and momentum lift as opposed to actually pulling and isolating your back, then you've gone too heavy. So it's a fine line between hitting your back as hard as possible and just doing momentum reps and not really getting the full benefit of the movement.
All right, guys, exercise number 3 is going to be the dumbbell seated low row. So a variation to the normal low row you are used to doing, but we're going to be using dumbbells. Now, a lot of people neglect working the inner definition of their back. So mostly people are focusing on expanding the width of their back. Well, this exercise is going to target the thickness of your inner back. So it's really going to target those lower lats and as well as work the spinal erectors. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up on the end of a bench, grab your dumbbells, sit in a bent over position, and you're going to slowly keep your back strict and row to the lower part of your back. You're going to come all the way up and keep it strict. Now what this is doing, it's going to feel every rep feeling like a pinch in your back. So like you're going fast, we're keeping our dumbbells close to our body. See, we're not expanding like a fly, we're keeping it very close like a row. And what you're going to notice is you're going to feel a little squeeze every single rep. And now what that's going to do is it's really going to target the middle definition. Like I said, too many people neglect working the inner part of their back because they're focused on getting wide. Well, what are you going to do if you have a wide back without thickness in the middle? So in this exercise, the dumbbell seated low row, add thickness to your middle back.
All right, guys, exercise 4 is going to be the T-bar row. Now, when performing this movement, guys, I'm using a landmine. If you don't have one, just jam the barbell into the corner of a wall and throw some weights on top of it to keep it in place. Now, what's great about this exercise is just like the one you guys saw Mike do where he was doing the dumbbell row on the bench, this is going to focus more on hitting your middle back to build overall size and strength. You don't want to only be doing exercises that target the width of your back, which a lot of people happen to do. This exercise is going to hit your lats, your teres major. It's going to activate your spinal erectors as well as your traps. And because it's a pulling movement, we're going to get some bicep activation in here as well. Now, another great thing about the T-bar row is because we're using this handle and our palms are facing each other to perform the movement, this is mechanically the strongest position that you can place yourself in to lift the most amount of weight with any back exercise. So what that means is we're going to be able to really overload the muscles with a lot of weight. So when you do this exercise, it should be more towards the beginning of your routine so you can really take advantage of the fact that you're pulling with your palms facing in. So to perform this movement, what you're going to do is get into place. Make sure when you do this, guys, you're not doing a stiff leg and bending over like this and then pulling the weight up. If you do, a lot of this weight is going to transfer to your lower back and you'll go into flexion and you can damage your lumbar spine. So you don't want that. So sit between your legs, get a nice tight stance. Once you're in place, pull the bar all the way up as high as you can. As soon as you get to the top, get a nice tight squeeze and go back to the ground. Now, I like to go to the ground and do a dead stop between all of my repetitions just to make sure I'm not using momentum to perform my reps. So bring it up, down, bring it up, down, just like this. Now, a little bit of momentum is okay, especially as you start to fatigue, or if you decide you want to add 5 or 10 pounds. And by a little momentum, I mean getting it to the top, getting a squeeze, and controlling it on the way down. If you guys are just doing this, whoa, and then dropping it, shit like that might happen, which obviously you can get injured. But if you're just pulling it up and then letting it drop to the ground and you have no control on the negative, you're missing out on all that muscle activation you could be getting on the way down. All right, guys, that wraps up today's video. Now, make sure if you're going to incorporate any of these exercises into your routine, start off with like 3 to 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps or 8 to 10, depending on whether you want to go for more strength or high volume. And remember also, too, the specific exercises here that are focused on increasing the overall thickness of your middle back, and then there's exercises that focus on increasing the overall width of your back. So just see what your routine is missing, and then add these exercises in when needed.
Now, you're probably wondering why we didn't include the deadlift. Obviously, that's a great exercise, something I'd highly recommend you start out your back workouts with. But the reason we didn't put that in this video is because we're talking about aesthetics specifically, so building your physique, where the deadlift, it's going to pretty much build the entire strength and size of your back, where we're talking more about the aesthetic purposes of these specific exercises.
And that's exactly right. If you guys have any questions, make sure you go down to the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to Anabolic Aliens, and as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.